about this process in general. I think, our goal isn't to try and figure out what bills, our goal isn't to replace what the legislator does. Our goal here is to try and come up in this round is to come up with a list of bills that we think have some potential to advance racial equity. And then what we would do next week is we're going to get assigned those bills back and have to do a more formal assessment of them. But still, at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're trying to send you as representatives and senators, like, here's a list of things we think you really should consider. And then ideally you would consider it. Some of them are more straightforward than others. There are very few bills that are actually designed to address racial justice directly. So we're kind of like at this indirect approach right now of just like, here's some things you could do. Like, don't let these bills die because of COVID. So I guess I'll leave it at that. But I can't remember the name of who's there for Katie, but if you got to drop off, I think we're good to hold things down from here.
Perfect. Yep, you're live streaming, so you should be good to go.
Okay, thanks for your help. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Emery.
Yeah, no problem. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
See ya.
Great to meet you, Garrett. Bye.
Same here. Thank you.
Thanks, Emery. See ya. So anyway, I put a link in the chat here. There's a document. Our job today is to go through this document and just basically yes or no. The bar is pretty low. Like, they don't want us to send back more than 50%, but from what I saw, that shouldn't be a problem for us.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I read that too. Cool. So you just want to go through it line by line and start at the bottom?
sure.
Or I have the document I have open is bill filtering averages.
Yeah, so
And that's what I went through and highlighted that red and green and then in between.
I copied it.
Awesome.
So, bye. Have a good day.
Yeah, and if you have any other things, like, I know Garrett and I have been talking, about, like, I think sometimes we don't know as much about like how the legislator works as you might, Representative O'Neill. So if there's any perspective you want to add or any context on these, like, I kind of took a look at 70 of them, but I don't know. Some of them looked like they hadn't gone anywhere. Some of them looked like they were just like placeholder bills that like are just going to die because nobody actually did anything.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm happy to share what I know. I think a lot of them it would involve a conversation with the sponsor, but for at least 20 of them, it seemed clear to me we could cross them right out.
Okay. So I'm going to have the document open on the Google document of like what we fill out. I'll have that open as we talk through it. And then once I'm done with that, I'll send it out to the full committee, which is more than the three of us.
Mm-hmm.
And just is like, hey, here's what we came up with based on the filtering tool, based on our conversation today. Anything you want to make sure. I don't think that we're really interested in people changing things from keep to discard. But if there is anything in there that somebody's like, hey, you really got to keep this one, we could add that stuff easily. So
yeah.
Awesome.
I agree.
So I'll turn it over to you, Garrett, and Representative O'Neill, just for kind of your thoughts on how to go through here. And I'll just kind of keep track of the notes here. And then,
yeah, I was thinking we could just go through it line by line. I was hoping we would have more people in here just because we'd have more input based on like who's in the committee room at the time and what the status is. But I can share what I think and you can share what you think your impression is just from reading it and using the rubric that that we had. So Garrett,
Sure.
are you gonna be going through it and crossing it off, or like who wants to do that? I'm happy to do that too. I shouldn't know if you guys want to facilitate.
I can go through and do I'll update the list with if we're crossing it off or not, basically.
Okay. We want to start at the bottom with the easy stuff. That's how my brain works, but.
So are you starting with LD 2084? Is that the bottom one? The last one?
Yeah,
Well-
that's the last one on the bill filtering average document, but it might be, somewhere different on the, on the Google
Oh,
sheets
I
we
see.
have.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, we can use the one that you're both referring to, and I'll
That
just
works
search for
okay.
it.
Okay, I just don't want to make it too hard to get around. But yeah, that bill's mine. I don't think that we want to recommend that one. And part of the reason was there was some question as to whether it would rate, or just no reason to discuss it. Doesn't need to be on there. But so 2084 discard.
That's gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, your bill was on the bottom. I know that bill, I looked at the comments, I know it was very contentious.
It was fun. 1238 I thought should be gone. How about you?
Yeah, I
just didn't see anything based on the rubric. Right. Travel insurance, which is 2143 I had as gone.
I think you skipped LD 85.
85.
Yeah,
That was, I didn't see anything based on the rubric, but I don't know what you guys think.
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay. And if anyone wants to contest it, they have 24 hours. So, yeah, and then 2143, I thought no.
Gone.
Yep.
Solar energy installations on farm, 2127 I had as gone. Transportation of products in the forest products industry, that's 2061 I had as gone. Also gone 1927, which is the Lafayette Trail. It's kind of like a historical thing to make markers for it. LD 1080 I had as gone, which was biofuel and setting certain amounts or something. And then the LD 47, which is a general fund bond issue to invest in fire stations, I had as gone based on the rubric.
You know,
Same. Oh, sorry, I'm just talking.
no, I'm just I'm kind of surprised that rated so low. The fire stations.
Do you want to leave it in there just because for some of these I felt weird because we didn't have, like you said, there's nothing that's specifically targeted
Right.
At the things that we're looking at. But for that particular one, I rated it as a 3 as average because I saw a potential for that to be helpful. But I'm happy to leave it in there for their consideration too.
No, it's gone. No, it's fine. Thank you.
Yeah. I think we can leave more for the committee for you all to think about. We want to err on that side.
Yeah, let's go on.
We'll think about it, and if you change your mind, we can swap it. And what do you guys think about 2093 net energy billing limits for solar? That gone.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. I mean, it's interesting because I think some of these bills, and I still don't think it makes sense because our goal isn't really to come up with a list of bills we think you should change. It's a list of bills we think you should pass.
Yes.
And for something like that, I assume that net energy billing limits actually does have a racial effect. Like it has a disproportionate benefit probably. If more white folks are homeowners in Maine than Black folks and other people of color, then anything that benefits homeowners in Maine is disproportionately benefiting white people.
Mhm.
But I don't know that that's the level of detail that we're at for something like this, but it is an interesting analysis to like try and build into legislative processes in the future.
Definitely. Yeah, and there's the potential for I'm trying to remember because I know I looked through all of these, but I'm guessing there would be a potential benefit for other kinds of housing, but it's just really, it's not written into the bill. So like you said, it's not directed to equity.
Are we gonna save that or are we gonna can it?
We can it.
Yeah, I think it's I'll leave it up to you guys on those iffy ones, if you feel like you want to have it there.
Ian, you want to save that? It's up to you, brother. It's
No,
up to
I'm
you.
good. I feel the same way about it as fire stations. It's like, I don't think that this is the time and place to try and analyze,
Right.
like, because what we would want to do is try and change something so that it has a racial justice effect, but I don't think that that's what there's time and space for in this process. It's just, we want to find the stuff that is already in the queue that should pass, not put new stuff in the queue.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm good with discarding that.
Okay.
So for 1862, that was about probate and trust law. I said get rid of that one, but it's not something I understand well. So disclaimer. And for LD 741, I had get rid of that, and my reason is I think we have plenty of investments that we could be making. So I just don't like the idea of that for this forum. All right, adjusting the personal property tax exemption for farm machinery, also my bill. It was meant to help farmers that have old equipment because it taxes them a little higher. So just like we were talking about with other bills like fire stations, there's the potential to help people who are, using older equipment for whatever reason, but I don't think there's a direct and clear impact. So I would nix that one too. And that's 241.
Okay.
LD 661, I had is gone. I think it's about like holding bingo nights or things like that to raise money.
Well, I don't know. Maybe, see, this is really hard. Seriously. I mean, what's the harm in having veterans try to raise money by playing bingo?
Oh, no harm at all, but I'm just going based on the rubric.
Yeah. Okay.
But we happy to leave it in too.
Nah.
I just think the struggle here, just like you named, is there are so few bills that are directed towards these issues that
I know
we're working in a gray area for a lot of them. Same deal with LD 126. I think there's the possibility for using that for good, but I from this angle, but I don't see anything clear in it as it is. So I had it as get rid of it from the list.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And some of these I wanted other people's input on, so I
think now
now I'm getting into the gray area. I still have probably 1, 2, 3. I have probably 10 more red that I put, but I think a lot of these I would need input on. How do you guys feel about the 2024, it's a long title, but calculation of the cost of education in the Public Employees Retirement System teacher plan. That one I was hoping we could have somebody from education to talk about. So we can, for our process, we could also leave things open, right? Because you said, is there another meeting at 5 or 4 today, or we can send it out for review maybe for the other ones?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it out to review
20,
immediately after this meeting with
Mhm.
everybody. Could just reply back by 5.
Okay.
And then I think we can regroup on process next week for the meeting that we have. You know, I think it's fine if only a couple people really participate, but I'm curious. Anyway, yeah, I think it makes sense to remove that one, but I will send this out. One other thing I'd add is just we do have we have to be off this meeting link by 2:55
Okay.
because they have
Right.
another meeting that starts right at 3.
Got
All
it.
right.
So I think not that we're like we're doing good with time right now. I just didn't want that to come up as a surprise.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's helpful. Yeah, so I would leave 2024 and 1200 on the list, because I think there's potential for good there, and I just want other people's input real quick before we remove it. And maybe that just gives you all discretion when you get together and meet. Okay, and then LD 789, I think I had it read because it looked like it was just a placeholder bill.
Yeah,
so
I
we
agree.
could get rid of that. What did you think on research for Alzheimer's, dementia, and other the general fund bond? No, nix that. Yeah, because if we're looking through that lens, things we could put a bond out for. No. All right,
Yeah.
455 off the list.
So is that off the list, 455?
Yes, that's what I have, because I think if we are talking about putting a bond out, there are a lot of things that could directly address these issues. So probably we wouldn't say we want to recommend that. Okay, 2166. I'm drawing a blank on what that was, so I'm going to skip that one and go to
I think it's fine
21.
to discard.
Would you
I mean,
say?
I think it's fine to discard that one.
Okay. And then if anyone disagrees, they can let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I had 2136 next only because I didn't see a direct and clear relation, but open to input.
Yeah, I'm good with that too. I don't know exactly what the intent there is. I think the intent that I saw from that bill was more around like the people that testified against it was like Irving, like Canadian oil companies. Basically.
Yeah, anyone from out of the country that would want to be able to spend on elections. Yeah.
But I don't know that it's an interesting thought process to go through like a racial equity analysis on it, but I also don't know that is like incredibly useful.
Agreed. Yeah, that was my thought process as well, that it could be done. There could be a benefit, but
yeah.
All right.
So
Teacher
that one gone?
retirement,
Yeah.
important effects who are able to hire to teach kids. This is 427. So I think I had that as gray, but between get rid of and not get rid of, just because of the significance to our education system. But again, not talking about something directly related to the rubric. So
I would keep 427. I don't know enough about it, but the reason being that the more that the state funds, essentially that just means the state is going to pay more of education. These are costs that districts are already paying. It's not that they're not paying for retirement. The state's just not reimbursing them through the EPS. The like essential whatever the formula. And so the more that the state would fund the full cost of education, the less that property taxes at the local level dictate educational outcomes. So that was my reason for keeping it,
I like that.
but it's not
Cool.
a major, it's not like gonna probably end up on my list of like, if you don't pass this, I'm gonna be super concerned.
Hmm. But a big issue for educators and education for sure.
Yeah.
All right, State Compensation Commission. Drawing a blank on that one too.
That bill increases the pay for legislators and senators.
Oh, you know what? This one was lower. I think I put a 5 on this one, and I'll explain why. We get, see, I should know this off the top of my head, but just if we pay it had a whole bunch of things, but from a legislator's perspective, if we pay our legislators closer to or a wage that's closer to something that you can live off of, we're probably going to see different kinds of people running for office, because right now you have to be someone that has a spouse that makes enough money that you can run, or you have to be retired, or just somehow in a comfortable enough position where you can dedicate that time that represents lost income. So I think that would be really important to see. But again, not direct, not, it's not directly targeted, but I would leave it in there for consideration.
Yeah.
Okay, 1994. Blanking on this one too for me.
I'm fine discarding that one. Just,
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure like whether it's a good idea or not, I don't think I want to do a racial equity analysis of it.
Okay. And if anybody flags it and thinks it's important, we can go back and revisit it. What did you think about 1962 with propane and natural gas detectors? Did that sound like a safety issue, something important that would potentially affect renters? Or I'm trying to remember what I kind of flipped through the testimony, but
I mean, if it's gonna help, the consumer, then we might as well keep it for now.
keep it for now. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And then can take a look at it.
That is
Okay.
1962, right?
Correct.
I think, did we skip 1994?
We said discard.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. And then what do you think about 1604? I had that as out, but I don't know if you have a good reason to disagree.
I mean, with permanent council, I have labor rights, and I think that might create jobs for people. That's how I looked at it.
Sure. Yeah. Let's leave that in and leave that for consideration. That's a good point. What do you think about 608 down east? Or I'm sorry, Ian, did you have something to add about that?
And just, I'm not sure. Is this the bond issue that we just voted on yesterday?
Yeah, I know.
Because I think
Yeah.
it might just be that this hasn't been approved by the voters, and that's why we're looking at bond issues.
Yeah, let me look. I was confused on the process for that as well.
But-
I didn't know if it was,
Well, maybe we
I didn't know why it was on our list, but
It still says, never mind, it must be a different one. It says carryover approved.
yeah, I looked at that.
So
So I don't know if
we can leave it.
if it's
We can keep
extra
it.
or, yeah, let's just leave it and then we'll figure out the details on that. Or
Okay.
And what do you
sorry,
think
I cut
about,
you off on the other one.
oh, no worries. This is Zoom life. What about 608 down east. I had no, just because I didn't want to put resources there, but open to your thoughts.
I'm a union guy, and a lot of my
Mhm.
brothers and sisters have worked there, and I know their story.
Mhm.
They were promised a lot by the current administration, and I think that they've gotten a raw deal. You know, their union, and I can't not support that.
Totally understand that perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they got really a raw deal from LePage.
They did. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and it is important to that area. So Ian, what do you think about
Right.
that? You want to leave it in? I'm cool with leaving it in.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If you want to do the analysis, Garrett, that sounds good. I mean,
okay.
I think it's a tough, I would say it's a tough, it feels like this will end up being a tough conversation for the permanent commission at this particular moment in time to recommend more funding for corrections.
Agreed. Yeah.
I know. I can understand that, and I totally get that. They're both sides of the coin,
But I also think, like, given that corrections isn't going to end tomorrow, that like DCF was providing an opportunity for people to actually make real money in jail and doing supervised work release and these other things that, are better than the alternative of just saying, like, let's send everybody to Maine State Prison.
right? And you're right. It's a smaller prison. A lot of guys, get out during the day and work around the community. So it's helping the community, and
So I guess I'm fine keeping it and then seeing what the full committee or the commission, if that's something that they really don't want to include in here or not. At the end of the day, I'm fine to do an analysis of it and then see where it ends up versus kicking it off today.
I mean, if it gets kicked off, it's just the way it is. But personally, I have to support
Okay.
it.
Yeah, that's good
Totally
enough
makes
for me.
sense. Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
good.
Leave it on. And it sounds like there's a reason to have a conversation. So let's do that. For 310, I had off because that was another placeholder, right? I'm
Yeah.
remembering. Yeah. Leave
That
that
sounds
off.
good.
Okay.
1952.
Yeah, 1952. I had that as could go either way. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on that one? I had it as could go either way. But
I mean, I'm good if you got Ian. If you want to keep it, I'm good. It's up to you. Either way.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it made a lot of sense to look at. I mean, again, whether or not it should pass, not being the question, but
yeah. Well, I'm happy to take that off. And if anybody wants to talk about it, we can do that. But yeah,
Okay.
for the same reasons, because it's going to be the same thing we come to on everything. It's just not directly addressing the issues that we're looking at. But,
yeah,
but
I'd rather
potential
personally,
to help. So
yeah, I'd rather personally end up, and I mean, this is just my own opinion. It's not what we have to do as a group, but I would personally rather end up with like fewer bills so that we're not saying.
it'll make your work easier for sure to have more focused things when you get there to start.
Well, yeah, and I assume politically, it doesn't make sense for us to say pass half of your bills.
Yeah.
It makes sense for us to whittle it down and say, like, hey, these are the things the permanent commission is saying, like, you must pass if you want to address some stuff this year versus like.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my own thing. And I just think the analysis is going to take a lot of time and we're not going to be able to do it justice.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So probably it'll just make your next steps easier. And for LD 1890, I had off, and my reason for wanting that off is I saw testimony against it by the ACLU, and it discussed something about the the level of training being lower than that of a law enforcement officer and potential for harm there. So I wanted that one off. But open to thoughts.
Sounds good to me. You good with
Yeah.
that, Garrett?
I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. All right, LD 931. I was hoping somebody from HHS would be here for a bunch of these bills. I can't remember off the top of my head if we're talking just about main care or requiring reimbursement across the board for all insurance. I saw, for all these main care bills, I saw a potential to help. And for some of them, I thought they were lower than they should be. Like for breast milk, 1938. I think some people maybe didn't think about the benefits, but.
Do you want to hold that one back?
Would you say?
Do you want to save that one or throw it away?
I'm just thinking out loud about, I think there's potential to help if you can increase access to healthcare. So, but same deal when we go through the rubric, nothing direct there. But do you guys feel like you want to consider that, or do you want to take it off now?
I mean, if you think it's worth saving, my opinion, then we can save it. I don't know how Ian feels, but if you think it's worth saving, then I think we should.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah, we can take a look at it. I mean, I think in general, like expanding access to healthcare, like kind of fits in line with things that would help advance racial equity.
Sure.
So.
All right, so keep that. All right. And what about LD 900, Garrett? I'm guessing you'll have some.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's keep that one.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think.
I'm surprised it got low marks though. But really kind of.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I thought I put it as a 4, but.
Yeah. Okay. And actually reduce property taxes in Maine. Do you know anything about that one, Maggie?
I looked up a lot of these property tax ones. I'd have to pull it back up to see what it was. I think when I looked at any property tax bills, I had the same thoughts that that I think it was Ian who brought this up, that it will disproportionately benefit white homeowners,
Right.
potential to help everybody. It's over inclusive for what we're working on. Is there potential to help? Yeah. So I don't know how that factors in for you guys, whether you want to keep it or nix it, but I had that as could go either way. But if you want to nix it now so you can just focus on other stuff, you could do that too.
I'm good getting rid of it.
Okay. All right, let's nix that. I did for LD 1938. I thought that should be in. That's
Okay.
access to healthcare, kids that
Yep.
immune systems that they're needing that. So, all right, drug donation and redispensing. That's 1661. I thought that should be in just because of the whole equity access to healthcare stuff we're talking about. The rate choice amendment I had as out, but happy to leave it in if folks want that too.
It's an interesting thought process for me. I'm not.
Yeah.
Given what that bill, I think the intention of that bill would likely prevent more extreme members of either party from like winning the governor. And so I think it was like uniquely designed around preventing somebody from being elected who may or may not have caused a lot of harm, depending on your opinion of that person.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like it's probably a political lightning rod that like, I'm good either way.
Well, I'm
Uh,
happy to keep it in, and one reason, just to name, that has not for the governor but for legislators is maybe it helps more people run at a lower level. So yeah, let's leave that in.
Okay.
You guys can talk about it. For LD 1295, I had definitely yes. Big deal. Don't know why it has an average of 2.8. But we'd rather people be getting health care than be in a jail. So
Sounds good.
Yep.
So now we're, now we're at 1169, right?
yeah, defibrillators. What do you guys think about that? I had as could go either way because you start having these analyses that are kind of it feels like a stretch, but I was thinking, I don't know, somebody that needs help that has a health issue in the public. I don't know. I just left it. I left it blank, but I thought we could nix it.
Yeah.
Either way,
Okay,
I'd
let's
say get rid of it.
leave that out and let you guys talk about other stuff.
Okay. 703, I think, is just a placeholder.
Yeah, I took that out too, and then we should flag that and probably, or I'll write a note to myself, but we should send a note to Rebecca, who was the sponsor, because I had a hard time getting rid of some of these placeholders because I think they could be used for good, and I know that that's not your role here, but if there's something that we can put in the education committee and like lickety split get it done, then we should do that. So
Okay.
so is that one gone?
yeah, we're saying gone, but I'm going to send an email to the sponsor
Okay.
to ask if there's an opportunity to do something with it.
Yeah, and how this works is basically if you hear back that, the sponsor is going to be putting some stuff in here and we really should like add it.
Yeah.
We can add stuff back, no problem,
Okay.
later on.
Okay.
I think we couldn't, through this lens, do anything with that bill as it exists right now because it's blank.
Yep, makes sense.
But we could do it in the future if we knew what the amendment was going to be.
Mhm.
So
Are we constrained by the 24 hours for that? Like if it's out,
No.
it's out. Okay.
no, I think I think as long as by the end of August, we could, by the end of July, sorry.
Okay.
So, 2106 is prescription drug authorizations.
I don't know enough about that.
I saw that as a potential access to care. It cracked me up when I opened up the testimony. I don't know if you guys saw his chart. But yeah, I don't know enough about it. I would say leave it in just in case, and then
Okay.
you guys can nix it if you have HHS people.
Yeah, that sounds good. 1639 is, I don't know. I had discarded.
Any
but
thoughts, Garrett?
I don't know what it is. So yeah, Garrett, I think up to you.
I don't know. You guys want to leave it in for now and just see?
Okay.
Yeah, let's leave it. If let's do that for things we don't know, and then we can always have people come back and tell us. Same deal for main care. I said leave it in because it access, but I didn't know, so too much about the issue. And then 1359 local workforce development boards sounds like a good thing to me to keep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had LD 400 out for food processing, but open to thoughts.
I looked at that one, and the only reason why I had it for keep was just because there was some testimony there that Representative Hickman submitted, talking about like food sovereignty and having Maine produce more of its own food. So, but it was pretty much entirely based on that. I saw his name in favor of it. So,
Do you want to keep it?
Yeah, you could leave it, and then Craig can have the chance to talk about it at the meeting.
Okay.
All right, 1978.
I think I had get rid of it just because I don't. But I could go either way.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Garrett?
You can throw it away.
Okay.
I had keep for 1135. Anything that prioritized like treatment, mental health stuff over incarceration, I wanted to support. So I greened a lot of this stuff, but all right, at least 560. What do you think of that?
I don't know a lot about that one, so whatever you guys want to do.
Do you want to leave it open for consideration?
I go either way. I think the intent of what it does, just so you know, is basically, so right now, if you buy a house, you don't qualify for the homestead exemption until you've been in it for like a full 12 months, according to the eligibility year for that. So this would just mean that you get
Right
the
away.
homestead exemption 1 year sooner.
Do you want?
But I don't, you know, it's a couple $100.
Let's leave that in so you guys.
Well, I mean, it's still the same. I'm fine getting rid of it because it's still just like, it's a couple $100 that would go to homeowners for sure.
So take that out.
I don't think it makes sense to do a ton of analysis on it. I mean, it's not a bad idea.
What time do we have to be done by?
We got 10 more minutes.
10 more
Okay.
minutes.
We better hustle.
Yeah, we're on our last page, so we're
Okay.
looking good.
And the rest, I think, get easier to keep. So
Definitely. Yeah.
Brain injury waiver services, 972.
I had out, but maybe I just don't know enough. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds fine. I don't know what
Okay.
it is.
And then for everything else, I had in, and the only thing I didn't have in green was 354 because I didn't know how you felt about the rural component and whether that was helpful. But yeah, I had the rest as in. Do you feel like you want to discuss them individually? I'm looking at, I don't see anything I disagree with. But I can also give, if you want any input, like for 2043, we're looking at reclassifying different offenses. I'd rather somebody get oh man, I'm missing the phrasing, but that's just the kind of thing that we want to be doing. So absolutely yes. That was Charlotte's bill.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, Maggie, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. No, I'm losing I can't find the word, so that's what I'm struggling with. But it was, and I'd have to go to find examples of what the offenses were, but it might be looking at a fine instead of like a crime.
Yeah,
kind of
it
thing.
moves a lot of like minor things from being like a class E misdemeanor, which is like kind of like a nothing crime, but it still like is a misdemeanor.
On your record, have to report it,
It moves those things to being the equivalent more to like a traffic ticket. So I thought that.
Thank you for saying that better than I did.
I think it makes sense to keep that. I'm good with what you shared. Everything that's left for me, I'm good with keeping. But you know, is there anything in there that you don't want to have, Garrett?
The internet, the high-speed internet for rural areas. Didn't we vote on that yesterday?
Yeah.
I don't know if if this is a different one, and I'd have to go and look to see if it's.
I mean, I'm definitely in support of it, but it doesn't make any sense if we're voting on it. If we voted.
Yeah. My guess, I should know this, but my guess is that this is like a parallel proposal because sometimes we put in bills that are similar. But,
okay.
But I'm not sure. I'd have to go look, do some research. But yeah, the rest seemed important to me.
I'm good taking that one out if it just, you know, if we don't want to really look at.
No.
But
no, I was just wondering because I thought I supported that yesterday when I voted. That's why I was like, I've seen this one.
Okay. So yeah,
Yeah, the only iffy one was dental. The idea I definitely support, but I thought Drew Gatine had a bill for dental as well. So I just didn't know the status of that. Versus Heidi Brooks's bill, which is 519. But I thought we should just leave it and you guys can talk about it when you get there. But do you feel like you have any questions that you want to ask about any of these before you move forward with them, or do you think you can get the info you need when you're in the meeting?
You know, one bill I didn't see what was the power bill. Wasn't it a bill that Maine would buy the power? I don't know what I'm talking about. There was where Maine would buy the CMP. Was that on there somewhere? We're in favor of that.
oh, I know what you're talking about. I didn't see that on our
Yeah.
list, but I remember that. I don't know if that ever ended up getting proposed, but there's this idea of like, instead of having the current, like that Maine would just buy back CMP and
Right.
create a
Oh,
publicly.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, create a publicly owned utility. Yeah,
Didn't we have that on our list?
I didn't see it on ours, but
Okay.
but maybe it's on the bigger list.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely on the bigger list. But
Yeah.
but I thought that we had it on our list.
Yeah, no, I didn't see Seth's bill on here.
Cool. Well, so I can send this list out to everybody right now. And just, give everybody till 5 o'clock if they have anything they want to move, particularly from discard to keep. I'm sort of good if you are that's just like a no questions asked. Like if you say move something from discard to keep, then we'll just move it and figure it out later.
That works for me too.
That way other committee members who aren't here feel like they still can have a voice. But
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
do you have a sense of like, so if we schedule a time to meet next week, I can send out like some options, but I don't really know how the legislator works in general. So do you have a sense of like what times we should propose and how many people we should actually expect?
I think people's schedules can be everywhere.
Okay.
So it really just depends. Maybe I would send out with this email a question saying, would during the workday work better, or would you all prefer after work? And we can see
Okay.
what the best time would be for people. Or maybe like did you do a poll? We could do like a poll with
Yeah,
2 or 3 times or something. I don't want to put too much on your plate, but
No, I can do a poll. There's not a lot of choices. It's like, it's got to be like Monday or Tuesday next week. So.
oh, okay. Yeah. Keeps it simple. Yeah, the only thing I see is that criminal justice is meeting. So
Okay.
be good.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, I don't know how many we ended up with. I haven't.
Oh, hold on. I can count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Around 19 or 20 that we've saved out of that list.
Cool. Yeah, we'll get the final number and see what it is. We definitely cut half. So
Cool. Well,
Get our
that's a good
job.
plan.
yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. It was nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you both.
It's nice
Thanks
to
a
meet
lot
you.
thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. Take care.
Take
All right.
care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.